Okay, this is the infamous Pride DX-300 that I'm refurbing. This is what I will call a semi-safe low voltage walkthrough test that I do with this Pride. I did one already where I found something with the high voltage where they put two of the high voltage capacitor equalizing resistors. Two of them were in parallel instead of in series. This amplifier takes a 10 amp fuse, and in the fuse holder was a 30 amp fuse. And if you notice, this transformer was missing. That's the way I bought it. And I figure between, the high voltage equalizing resistors in parallel, 30 amp probably was blowing fuses. So what the seller do? Replace the 10 amp fuse with a 30 amp fuse. And going through it, before I powered it up, one more thing I found was that it had the Nomad boards in it. The Nomad high voltage board is the one that had the two high capacitor equalizing resistors in parallel instead of all of them in series. And on the low voltage board, the Nomad board came with a new bias pot. That's all installed on the inside. The low voltage board, the Nomad 1.42, I think is the version of it. It's a better board. One of the knocks on the Pride DX-300 was that the screen and the bias are not regulated. The Nomad board regulates both the screen and the bias, so it fixes one of the knocks on the infamous Pride DX300 amplifier. So I love the Nomad boards. I always get a high voltage board if the Pride doesn't have it, and depending on the condition of the low voltage board and how much I want to put into it, sometimes I get the low voltage board, sometimes I don't, but I do recommend them. It's just I don't always do it. But this one came with the Nomad high voltage board and low voltage board, and a problem I found with the seller of this amplifier with the low voltage board, they had it all wired up right and everything. Well, no, let me take that back. The board itself was fine, but on that board, the bias coming out of it, the negative bias, goes to that bias pot there. They had the bias pot wired up. The wires going to it from the board were fine, but you're supposed to take the bias out, the negative bias coming out from the board that goes to the tube. It goes to the center tap of that pot, and then goes to the relay board, which goes to the tube. So the wire coming out of that pot going to the relay board with the negative bias was not there, missing, gone, nothing. So whoever was trying to run this amp not only had the problem with the equalizing caps, they had zero bias. So this amp was running super hard, class A, super hot, just burning up the tube, burning up the amp, and then they got wise and put in a 30 amp fuse because it kept blowing fuses, and then they popped the transformer, and hence why I got this amp minus the transformer, because of course they blew it up. So anyway, we got the bias wired right and everything wired up right, and checked everything we could, and with the Nomad board, if it could be set up for two biases, even though you got the variable. For the regular 4CX250B tube, it takes about, I believe, 75 volts of negative bias for the tube. And then the 4CX250R or the 8930, I believe, off the top of my head, I didn't study it, I think they take about minus 90 of bias. And the problem was, if you had the original bias board and everything else, even though it's adjustable a little bit, you couldn't adjust it high enough for the 4CX250R or the 8930. You couldn't get enough negative bias out of it. However, the Nomad boards, at least in the version I got, you could add a switch, which this push button here is actually a switch, and it varies the bias from, I think from low is like 60 to 90, something like that, and then the high bias is something like 80 to 110. So you can run any version of the 4CX250B2 in this amp with these Nomad boards. If you run it like that, you don't have to use, put in the switch to vary that bias. If you're going to use a 250B only and you're not going to put in an 8930 or an R, you can just leave it with the low bias without the switch, and vice versa, the same thing with the high bias. So after I got it all wired up and checked everything and ran my switch to the negative bias, I'm like, let me test this thing to make sure it's working before I dig out a high voltage transformer and hook all that up. So let me test it with low voltage first. So the first thing I did is, for the low voltage, the stuff that runs the relay, the preamp, and the LED lights in this thing, that runs off of 14, 15 volts DC. So instead of plugging it in and doing all that for my test, I just got a variable power supply there, that little Micronta, little 1 amp. It's actually 0 to 30 volts, but dialed it in to 15 volts, hooking it up to the power supply where the DC comes out. And I tested all my lights, relays, keying circuits, everything that ran on the low voltage, to make sure it worked, and it did. So the next step is, I plugged it in, without the high voltage transformer even hooked up and all that, and ramped it up on the variac, even though that's not real important, when I don't have high voltage in it. But if there was a short or something, it would have came out, as I tried to turn up the variac, my amps would have been going crazy. So, but everything was okay. So we ramped it up, the low voltage, everything was working again off the power supply this time. But another thing we did was, we checked all the voltages coming out of the low voltage transformer. Not only does the low voltage transformer put out the 13 volts to run the low voltage power supply, for the again, the relays, preamps, and the lights on the front, it also puts out the voltages for the negative bias and the voltage for the screen. It actually does it in a kind of a weird, well, not really weird, but a little different way. It uses the transformer, which puts out the AC. It uses a center tap, and it puts the center tap, the high voltage coming out, through the diodes. On the center tap, it goes to the screen, half a wave, and the other half wave, it goes through negative diodes coming out, and they use that for the negative bias. So they get the negative bias and the screen voltage half waves off of one output of the transformer doing that. So you got a half wave of screen, and you got a half wave of negative bias. But again, you run them through the diodes, you filter it, with the capacitors and all that, and it's not pulling a lot of current. Screen voltages for that tube pulls very little, probably like a 1/4 amp, and then same with the negative bias, just pulls very little. So you could do it that way. Just make sure you have your electrolytic caps to filter that out, that half wave out. So anyway, we tested all our voltages, once we actually plugged it in and all that, just right at the tube socket. So, when we fired it up, we made sure we had the 6.3 AC at the tube sockets for the correct pins. Here's the schematic for the tube. Pins 3 and 7 at the bottom are the filaments for it. And then the center pin of that tube is where the drive comes in and your negative bias. That's on the left there. And then on the right of the tube, pin 1 is the screen supply. You know, from pin 1 to ground. The plate coming out, the high voltage, is not hooked up. So anyway, with that, we plugged it in. We already knew my 13.8 or 15 or whatever it runs of was working. So we plugged it in and fired it up and got the meter out and checked all those voltages. And right now I think I got it hooked to that center pin of the socket and ground. So that should give me the negative voltage there. You know, that's where your drive and your negative voltage comes in at. So anyway, we're going to turn it on. And you can see the negative 60 volts right there off that center pin, right? And again, with this, the low voltage, you can see my lights lighting up and operate, you know, turn on the light and then receive amp on. You can't do the screen because there's no screen current because we don't have a tube in it and drive and all that. That's basically poor man's screen grid current indicator, even though it's just a light. When that light, you're pulling some screen current. So it is a poor man's screen current indicator. And then with the Nomad board, I think I got it all the way down. Remember I said it goes from like 60 to 90 on low, and then about 80 to 110 on high. So we got it on low, and we're gonna dial it up with the bias adjust here. This is just a little rubber over the screw adjustment there, and we can turn it by hand. And 70, that's turning it up a little bit. 80 and 88. Okay, that's on the low switch here, and then we can hit that and go high, and we got 105 on high. I think I said 110, but 105. Again, those 8930s and 4CX250, I'm turning it back down now, and that's on high. It goes from like 80 to 105, and that's regulated with the Nomad board. Again, it regulates the screen, and we checked all our voltages, you know, doing this, the filaments, the not just the bias and the screen. So we got everything. It lights up all good. Actually, I think I'm ready for the high voltage now. But anyway, that's a safer, you know, even though I got 110 coming out of it and I got about 300 coming out the screen. But it's a safer way of doing it. You know, again, the low voltages, I just hooked up the low voltage power supply without plugging it in. You know, totally safe to do that with 13 volts. And that only puts out 1 amp, so it's not going to mess up anything. So we did it safely with that first, and everything looks good. Then we actually plugged it in with just a low voltage, and everything's good, you know, with our bias and screen and filament. So, you know, next step is to hook up the high voltage, plug in a tube, and see what we get. All right, that's going to be it for this one, the Pride DX-300. Part 2, part 3 coming up soon. Bye.